Alright, today we are going to be playing SimCity. Much anticipated game. Let's hop right in. There have been a few problems with SimCity. It took me quite a bit just to get this going, which is probably why this video is going to be coming out later than normal. It should not have taken that long. It took me like a good couple hours just to get it working, which is really ridiculous. I really would have expected more from EA. Not that I have any high expectations from EA in it by any means, but at least you think they'd get their whole always online DRM working. Jesus. Anyway. Here we have our different places where we can make our cities. It's kind of disappointing that you can't like randomly generate a place. I was kind of wishing for that. Anyway, let's choose a place that's not too big, because I'm not really going to be playing in this one regularly. I have my own that I play with a friend in. I think we'll do here. Whitewater Valley. What are we going to name this? Chicago. No, let's make it Illinois, because that's the region. I'll make the city Chicago. Private, otherwise we're gonna get a bunch of random people coming in and screwing everything up. Awesome. There's the first problem. See that? SimCity servers are down, so I will be back when they're actually working. And I'll let you know how long it actually took. Actually, considering this is, well, still down, I think I'm just gonna talk about what I plan to be doing in the future with this Tuesday slot I have. I think I'm gonna be making this into a Michael Complains About series, where I essentially just go and review games. Don't necessarily need to be new, but it'd be nice to do some newer games. So I might be doing older games. I think I have a few I might be thinking about. And so I think this video will be the first video in the series Michael Complains About. I'm not sure whether I'll continue to do Michael Plays, but I don't think so. No. I've decided that it's really not that entertaining to watch me play that versus Jeremy. He has a totally different play style that really bodes better towards just a Let's Play series where I think I can be a little bit more critical with the games. So, this is just gonna be the first video in that series, and I'll get back to you guys when the servers are actually back up so I can play my single player game. Oh my god, praise the Lord. After more than half an hour of waiting, I finally got back into their servers. Let's see how long that will last. Thank you, SimCity, thank you. This is no beta version. This should all be working just fine, but let's try this again. No, I might need to just make this whole region again. Let's try. Oh my god. If I really need to get back... Oh god. This is painful. I just want to review this game. Alright, I'm going to restart my SimCity. Hopefully I can get back into the servers. Let's try this one last time. Okay, come on. Let me down. Gotten it working before. I played quite a bit this morning, but Jesus. Oh my god. I think I finally got in. That's probably the single biggest problem of this game. such a big problem that I would even advise against getting it, at least for the first week. If you're itching for SimCity, just wait at least a week. This is unbearable, and it just ends up in frustration. This online DRM, that really isn't DRM, but yeah, it is, crap is just terrible. Jesus. Alright. So, let's get into the actual game. I'm by no means good at this game, but I at least understand the basics. So, let's see which way wind is blowing. Alright. So we're going to want to build our industry probably somewhere up here, because that way the pollution won't be blowing towards our commercial zones or our residential zones. And gosh, these commercial and residential zones are probably the second worst problem in this game. As a matter of fact, I don't even think I'm going to be making a new city. I'm just going to go into one of my other cities and just demonstrate some of the problems. Let's just resume that, see how this goes. I've just renamed some of my city as some other German cities. My main city's Berlin, then here we have Munich. Probably gonna make Vienna or Frankfurt or something along those lines. And I also have this region with a friend. And this morning, the whole intercity thing really did not work at all. Occasionally, we would get people to shuttle in between our cities. We know how the system works. It should have been working, but the departments weren't properly spreading across the region. It just wasn't working as it should have. If they're gonna make this whole always online thing as a feature, then at least make it work right. Alright, so here we have Munich. It's a very large city. You have quite the population here. Airport. This is a gambling town, because you can make different kind of specializations for each city. You can even have multiple, but it's best to stick to one or two. You can build trade ports and whatnot, and that's something that's actually really new to the SimCity games. This whole trading aspect. While it might have been simulated to some extent, it's defined this time around. So, here I have my nuclear power plant. It depends on education level, radiation, whatnot. And this worker education level really demonstrates something else in this game. There isn't really a defined line in some things, such as these residential zones. You might click here, and here it says your land value and density and whatnot. And a lot of this isn't too clear. You might be asking, why is this land value low? Well, is it pollution? Well, pollution is not really too bad anywhere. Is it ground pollution? Not really. Do we have water? Well, that's just the water table. That's not what I was looking for. Do we have water? Yeah, we do have water. Do we have electricity? Right. Alright, sewage. This is quite a problem. Sewage is a problem, but I don't think that would make it linger like that, and sewage hasn't been a problem forever. And it really just leads you to ask why. Why is the land value so low? Why is the happiness not really going down, or going up? It does tell you some things. Look, we have an injury, okay, so I might need to focus more on my clinics, whatnot. But there's just a lot of vague things to it. And it doesn't give you big circles for what things are affected by. Like, people don't like to be next to this recycling center. Great, I understand that. But when does that sphere of influence end? It doesn't really tell you. You just have to kind of wing it and see how it goes, which is something I really don't like. You should be able to plan out your cities, instead of just trying to see what happens and what works. And then we have here my other city, Berlin. I've been having a lot of problems transferring resources. I used to send money from Berlin over to Munich. Sometimes the money would leave Berlin but never get to Munich. And so it was just wasting my money. And then other times, when I'm trying to transfer resources, it would do the same exact thing. And transferring people between it is also another one of those vague things, whereas you're not really sure whether people are ever going to commute. You can't really tell them to commute. They just kind of do, and you can't really tell them to. It's just way too much vague in a city builder. And then here we have population, right? We can click on this map mode and get these nice graphs. I like graphs. We go to detail. Alright, we have 7,000 people here working, despite 65,000 people living here. What is going on? And there's these massive job deficits, despite nearly my entire city being residential. I mean, look at this. 65,000 people for just this amount of jobs. Sure, some of these would be contributing to that, but I don't imagine this amount of industry would be too large of a workforce. It should be negligible. Anyway, this is just kind of ridiculous. And my residential demand is always at the top. And the way that people, like, level up, as I've spoken, how you don't really know how it works. And because it's so vague and so difficult to really get people to level up like you want them to, you can't always get that perfect balance that you need between the poor, the middle class, and the high class. Your economy just never works like you want it to. And if you actually do get all this working, that's awesome, but it shouldn't be that difficult. It's really ridiculous. And so, obviously, this game has problems. That's without a doubt. City sizes are also very small. Like, I played on this map for about 2-3 hours, and I'm, like, basically out of space. There's nothing really I can do. I can move people over here, but then they'll just get mad at me for being next to a recycling center and an airport. So, definitely problems. But this game isn't terrible. I really have had a lot of fun with it so far. Despite working past all these problems, like these damn abandoned buildings. Despite all these problems, I've had fun. The best part about this game is definitely how you can actually look and see these are actually really real people. If you follow this guy around, he lives somewhere, he works somewhere, he has needs, and the water and the electricity, they'll actually flow through the city. And it's really fascinating to just watch how this whole system works, and it's quite simplified. And not really in a bad way either. I never really thought it was fun to be laying pipes manually. And so they did simplify this game quite a lot, but not too much. But then again, in some cases I think they did simplify it too much. You can't really control a lot of the things that you would like to control. Perhaps they can fix some of this in the future. Perhaps they can't. Maybe it's just too deeply built into the game. But until then, there are definitely problems that are inhibiting my enjoyment of the game. So it is good, right? I do like the whole social aspect, right? Playing with friends when it works, if it works. And I think it's really, I welcome the whole playing with friends and that kind of stuff, but it shouldn't be the selling point of the game. For a single-player game like this, you shouldn't rely on other people to make the other game, or to make the whole game fun. And I think that's the case in a lot of games. You shouldn't really be focusing on having other people make the game fun for you, if it is a single-player game like this. So if we go and look over at my friend's city over here, which will take a long time to load in, because this is all loaded from EA's or SimCity's servers. That was actually less than normal. Still, with this game on my solid-state drive, I'd really like it to load faster. If we look at his city here, he's chosen the oil specialization. It really takes a ridiculous amount of oil to level up this petroleum HQ. 315,000 a day in daily profits necessary. That essentially requires him to build as many oil depots as possible throughout the entire city, and then upgrade them all as much as possible, which is something I'll get into in a second. That is also kind of crazy. It's sometimes just impractical to try to level this up all the way. And so that really leads me to the next part, something that's new in this game compared to other SimCity games, which is the whole upgrade aspect. I like it. I think their thinking behind it was that you wouldn't have to build 5,000 police stations, because that's unrealistic. In this situation, in this game, you really only need to build one police station, and then in such as my city here, if we look at my police station, which I think is... there it is, right? If we look at my police station, we click on this little edit icon, we can see you can make upgrades. I can make another jail cell. Let's do that. Then I can put a top floor on that jail cell like I did there. And it allows you to customize your city not only aesthetically, but functionally, because it removes that requirement for a police station every 2 blocks. Which is really good. I think that's something that a lot of city simulators should do. I think they shouldn't have you make 5 million police stations and whatnot. And I think that this whole editing system works fairly well, but it also suffers from the whole vague problem. Whereas when you build it, let's demonstrate that. Let's get police. When you build it, it doesn't exactly tell you where the expansions are going to be. I'm sure you get those little red boxes if you're not going to be able to make any expansions, but in the case of, say, a solar farm, cool, there's red boxes there. And so if I allow those to all work, and I build that, something they don't tell you is that you also are almost required to build solar panels in addition to those. So that those, even though I might have all these sections allowed, I'm not going to be able to get full capacity, since I'm not going to be able to build as many solar panels as I would have been able to in a free-up city. It's just a lot of these things that they really needed to clear out, that you really shouldn't have to learn, that it should tell you. It's a lot of these that really need to be fixed. And I hope that they do fix it, because when they do fix it, it's going to be a lot easier to plan for a city. This is a city builder. And I think that that's really important. So without repeating myself about how vague the game is and how there's a lot of improvements that need to be made on the server side, I'm just going to finish this here. I'm going to say I did like this game so far, when it works. And I would definitely recommend getting it in the future, but not now. The last thing the servers need are even more people. Get it in the future, get it in a few weeks, get it when it's on sale. Don't pick it up now. You're just going to run into a bunch of hassles, and even when you do get it working, it's not running as it should right now. The whole interconnectivity is not working like it should. So, that concludes the first episode here with I Complain, Michael Complains. So see you guys next time.